Hey, how are you all today? Welcome to American Reversion. You know, the other day I did that video about how America has changed, and I was doing it from Swope Park down in Kansas City. And boy, did I get a bunch of hateful comments on that. Ooh, wow, the trolls are out. That's all right. That's okay. I don't mind. Kind of lets us know what the rest of the folks are doing, doesn't it? I have an amazing story today. Amazing, I mean, amazing can doesn't mean necessarily good, doesn't mean, it just means I was surprised to see it. You all going to make your own decisions on this, but I think this is fascinating, and it probably, shall I say, maybe it foreshadows some more things that are going to happen. We will see. I'll tell you I'll read the headline here, and then I'll read the article to you, and then maybe say a couple of things, and then we'll look forward to your all's comments. It was out of the Daily Mail. Isn't it interesting how we get so much stuff out of the Brit papers that our own papers here will never put out? Our own meaning American papers. So the headline is this: wealthy white Louisiana residents win the right to form their own city and split from poorer black neighborhoods in landmark court ruling after a 10-year battle. Well, that was quite a long headline, wasn't it? But it got all the information in there. So let's go down and read some of this. And this story is by Isabel Stanley for the DailyMail.com. Wealthy white Baton Rouge residents have won a decade-long court battle to split from poorer neighborhoods and form their own city with plans for better schools and less crime. Now, why in the world would they want better schools and less crime? Okay, let me just interject here, and I said it the other day. My parents moved us from Kansas City, Missouri, into Kansas when I was 3 because they saw what was coming. They saw the change of the city. They saw the change of the culture. Now, they saw it long before many people did, but still they weren't the first. There had been a mass migration out of Kansas City, Missouri into Kansas, and it was by more of the affluent people who had been in Kansas City, Missouri, saw Kansas City going down the tubes, and it has now become a cesspool. And it was sliding down that cesspool slide ever since the 50s. And they came out here to Kansas. These were the ones that had put the hard work in. They were the business owners. They were the drivers of success for the city. They were a lot of the tax base, and they came out to Kansas. And you know why they did? Let me look in here for the clue, and it's the last few words of that previous sentence: better schools and less crime. So, Louisiana Supreme Court ruled on Friday that the new city of St. George could move forward with incorporation, splitting off from the rest of Baton Rouge. The reason I find this so interesting, probably you do too, is to say, well, this is setting the tone. Could this happen with other places? And a lot of us have talked about this. St. George will have 86,000 residents across a 60 square mile area in the southeast of East Baton Rouge Parish and will have its own mayor and city council. Supporters of the new city say that the existing city-parish government is poorly run with high crime rates and bad schools. You could say pretty much the same about any major city. Poorly run, high crime, bad schools, right? Opponents say the movement is racist. Well, of course they do. Of course they do. You know, it's what everybody's been accused of since the 50s, white flight. Yeah, it's racist because you don't want to live around high crime, and you don't want to send your kids to poor schools, bad schools, and a poorly run city. So, of course, you're racist. So they say the movement is racist and will create a, quote, white enclave, as it separates a wealthy area of the city from the majority black city and school district. Isn't it interesting? Have you noticed, and this has to do with the AP, I don't know what it is, but do you notice, and I'm not making a racial issue here, this is not against people of any particular group, it's an indictment of the way our society has come, is that they decided, the AP and those who write, they have decided that white will not be capitalized, but black will always be capitalized. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. Probably many of you have. So white enclave is just, a regular W. Black city and school district is a big capital B. I don't know why. Well, yes, I do, because they're a bunch of libs trying to, show how non-racist they are. And then we have a picture. We have some pictures of a depressed area. Then we have a picture of a really nice street showing the difference between, the two different areas. So let me continue this, and then we have a picture of a bunch of racists, a guy and his wife and their 4 kids, and let's see who he is. I'll post this on Patreon. I'll post the article, so those of you who are with us on Patreon, by the way, I appreciate you being there, and we welcome anybody else that would like to join us on Patreon. Links down below. And of course, this is a campaign leader, Norman Browning, pictured with his family. It doesn't say right on there racist Norman Browning, but it's implied as. And he says, he told the New York Times, "I look forward to our ability to build an efficient, productive, and vibrant city." How racist of him. How racist to want to build efficiency, productivity, and vibrancy. Well, that's just terrible. That's just terrible. Then we have a picture of some woman here who says she's the leader of the anti-St. George campaign group, M.E. Cormier. She told the New York Times, "There is no basis in fact that the existence of St. George is positive or will bring positivity or have a positive impact on any areas of the cities or the parish." Well, see, well, it's going to have a heck of a positive influence. She loves to use the word positive, but it's going to be very positive for the new St. George, and it's going to be good for them, not good for others. Let me continue with this, and then I think we're going to run in some numbers here that you'll find interesting. Plans for St. George started nearly 15 years ago when residents decided they would like to start their own school district. Okay, very important here. For those people who say that politics don't matter, this is how local politics do matter. Okay, that's because people got involved and they fought for it and they worked for it. Their plans then grew to more ambitious, and in 2015, also another lesson here, it takes time. It takes time. Just because you get mad today and start something today and don't get it tomorrow doesn't mean that it's not a worthy goal, not worth working for, and that it can't be accomplished. Okay, so their fans, it started 15 years ago. Their plans then grew more ambitious, and in 2015 they drew up a proposal to create their own city. Well, haven't these people heard that civic involvement doesn't work? Guess not. The proposal didn't get enough votes, and the movement ground to a halt until 2019, when a second ballot to incorporate St. George passed. What? You mean to tell me that it was voted down and they didn't give up? Great lesson here. Now, most of you don't need this lesson. I'm talking to the person who does. Great lesson here. They didn't get it through on their first ballot. They kept working. They didn't throw up their hands. They didn't whine and complain about politics doesn't work. They didn't whine and complain about everything's crooked. They just kept working at it. And guess what? In 2019, second ballot, it passed with 54% of residents voting in favor of the separation. Now, what we're seeing here is small-scale internal secession of some areas from cities, and you might even see some, that might spread. But that's interesting, and actually I've talked about this before. If we couldn't carve out certain areas of these major blue cities, because they are just, they are where the hose needs to be stuck, right? You want to give these states and the whole country an enema, that's where the hose goes. Okay, a lengthy court battle followed with Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome and Mayor Pro Tem Lamont Cole suing St. George organizers soon after the election. Well, of course they did. They argued that St. George would siphon over $48 million in annual tax revenue from the city parish government with serious knock-on effects for local services and staff. That's right. They're taking their tax money away from a city that is non-functional, wastes their money, doesn't give them proper services, and has horrible schools. Of course it did. See, that's take the money and run. Take your money and run. I talked about this with pulling your kids out of public schools if you have bad public schools. Not everybody has bad public schools. I think that's another lesson people need to realize. There are some excellent public schools out there, but see, this is where you have to make a choice. You have to know what's going on, have a little discernment. So they claimed, so taking your $48 million away from us is going to have a negative effect on our local services and staff. Right. That's the whole point. The whole point was not to hurt them necessarily, but to improve the lives of those who are paying the bills. Right? Okay. They claimed that the loss in revenue would mean services would have to be cut and employees laid off. Yeah. Or the employees that don't do squat. You ever been down to a city hall or watched the workings of many large city departments? Well, they may be employees, but they're not all of them workers. So, I stepped on the sentence there. It would mean services would have to be cut and employees laid off, and that St. George's proposed internal budget was inaccurate and that they would not be able to be self-sufficient. Interesting that the people who can't add are telling the ones who can, the successful ones, the one who've been paying the bills all along, that they can't, what did they say? They would not be able to be self-sufficient. Well, they've supported themselves and you for years. If they don't have to be supporting you, yeah, they can support themselves even better. See, this is an example of the ignorance that comes out of the non-producers, those who get all of their power with government jobs and being voted in by people who don't know very much. Okay, lower courts in Louisiana supported Baton Rouge's arguments and shot down the proposed new city. But now the state's Supreme Court has overruled their decisions, saying that the internal budget is balanced and will be able to provide public services, meaning St. George can incorporate. Excellent. Critics of the St. George proposal argue that it would create a poor, black, and urban Baton Rouge and a wealthy, white, and suburban St. George. Posting on Facebook, resident Sarah Stelly wrote, "St. George reeks of class division. It's quickly becoming the new worst type of bigotry." Another resident, Paul Brady, wrote, "The segregationist won. I'm no longer a citizen of Baton Rouge. I now live in the white enclave of St. George." You know, it isn't interesting who always pulls the race card. I doubt that any of these people who wanted to remove their good part of the city from the bad ever mentioned race in it. You know, but of course the others, they come in right away. Al Sharpton will be showing up on the bus soon. So a leader of an anti-St. George campaign group, Emmy Cormier, told the New York Times, "There is no basis in fact," I always read this, I'll read it again, "that the existence of St. George is positive will bring positivity or have positive impact on any areas of the cities or the parish. The detanglement, logistically speaking, is going to be an absolute nightmare." Whatever. I'm sure that the people in the new city will think it's well worth whatever nightmare. They've been living a nightmare. They've been paying the bills for people who've been making their city a nightmare. They'll be glad to get out of it. This is a big waking up. But Andrew Murrell, a leader of the St. George Project, told the paper, "This is the culmination of citizens exercising their constitutional rights." Exactly right. Now we begin the process of delivering on our promises of a better city. Right. Fellow campaign leader Norman Browning told the Times, "I look forward to our ability to build an efficient, productive, and vibrant city while contributing to a thriving East Baton Rouge parish." Good for them. This is what needs to happen all over the country, and the people down in Baton Rouge got her done. It's also the prime example of how local politics and getting involved and staying involved can be successful and can bring about results that you want. Okay? All right. Guys, I'll look forward to hearing send this to as many people as you can. And I'll look forward to hearing your comments. And when I put this up over on the Patreon site, I'll put the link down for this article so that you can read it for yourself, and also send that around to anybody you'd like. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.